Well, okay. So it looks like we have 24 participants so far. And you mentioned Don is not going to be with us this evening.
Yeah, Don, Princess, and Dulce. And right now we have you, George, Marta, and Beverly says she'll be joining shortly.
Okay, good. Okay. One more minute.
Here she is. She just joined.
Beverly just joined.
Yeah, it's still not quorum, but it's
well, it's 7 of us, and we just need 4 for a quorum. We need 4 for a quorum.
You're
so
right.
is it 4? Is it 4 of us?
I'm so sorry. I'm here. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank you. And you are correct, Beverly. There are 4 of you.
Yes,
Thank
4,
you,
so
Beverly.
Yeah.
You made our quorum.
Good evening. Well,
it was just 4 o'clock. Where did the last hour go?
Well, you know, we still have a few more, you know, we have a few more seconds. Did you want to run the meeting?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask you. Okay.
I appreciate, but you can always run it.
Okay.
You look lovely. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you. I got sworn in this morning. Okay, so it is 5:05, and we are here this evening for our North Richland MAC council meeting. Okay, and I have the agenda, and as we just, some of you just heard, we do have a quorum, so we're going to start this meeting. So as far as our roll call, Madam Tanya, could you please go ahead and call the roll for us?
Yes, so we have Annie, Marta, Beverly, and Jorge present.
Okay.
And Annie will be our Madam Chair this evening. Thank you, Annie.
You're very so much welcome. And welcome everyone this evening. With that, may I have approval of the agenda and the minutes? Starting with our agenda, our working agenda for this evening.
This is Beverly. I submitted a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Beverly. And may I have a second?
I second to approve.
And that is Jorge?
Jorge, you got it?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Jorge. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing any objections? Hearing none? Thank you, it carried. Okay, for our minutes that was presented to us this evening. Board, give you a few minutes, a minute or two, if you haven't had a chance to go over the minutes, please do. And then I will ask for a motion.
This is Beverly again. I've read the minutes from the last meeting and I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you, Councilman Beverly. And may I have a second, please?
I second.
Thank you, Jorge. Okay, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Myself. Any opposers at this time? Jackson? Hearing none? It passes and it carries. Okay, thank you so very much. Now we're on item 3 with public comments.
That's me.
Let our coordinator Tanya open it up, and
that's me
that would like to speak. Okay, Cordell, you ran.
So
don't take all night either. Let's go.
I ain't gonna. I promise I'll keep it short. I'll keep it short, Annie. So Good evening, Acting Chair Meredith, MAC members. I am Cordell Henlon. I have some fantastic news to share with you all. So you are cordially invited to attend the Richmond Rotary Club holiday auction on December the 9th, this Friday at the Richmond Country Club. And there's gonna be some prizes too. Maybe, I think there's some trips to Mexico and Hawaii. So, but you have to bid on it. So it starts at 12:30 in the afternoon. So please do attend. And that's one. And then the other announcement is I will try to come to the MAC meetings in person. I will try. Hopefully that y'all will go back to in person because I'd rather see faces or do a hybrid format. So whatever works for everyone. So, and let's see what else. I guess that's pretty much it.
Cordell, if I can, could you
Yes,
reiterate one more time the location for the drawing and the
say that
time,
again.
place? If you can reiterate the time and the place for the drawing.
Oh, at 12:30 p.m. at the Richmond Country Club. There's going to be a holiday auction
And what date?
this Friday.
This Friday. Okay, that's what
Yes.
I heard the times, but I didn't know what date. Okay.
It's
All
going there's going to be some food there too.
Okay. I
So I will pass it to Latifa.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Cordell. Thank you so much for your announcement. Okay. Do you see Miss Latifa?
Yes, Latifah's next.
She has to unmute. Miss Latifa?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, my thing, my camera's not working, but couple things. I wanted to just a reminder that public comments are open for the housing element. They're due December 19th, I believe. And then the other thing, I wanted to put it out there. Before I start working on this, I want to see if there's already something in North resources, like a resource guide. So if we have people coming by the farm, they're looking for resources for like for people that are unsheltered and other community resources. So if you can let me know offline if there's something that already exists, then I won't recreate it. So those are the two things I have for now. Thank you.
Okay. If I may comment to Ms. Latifa, check in with me. One was developed, that was one of my projects, developing that, and it has been very useful. I have a prototype that you can go for and just add on to it. It's pretty lengthy and it has the locations and stuff. So I'll check in with you after probably tomorrow, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, and who is speaking?
Yes, Eleanor Thompson. I'm sorry, I tried to raise my hand with star 6, but I don't know if that did it. But anyway, I wanted to speak on open forum, and I'm only speaking on the Resource Center and the museum. And I know that they said on the last meeting that none of the scattered houses can be used for that, but I believe that Supervisor Joya, and I think his name was Will, I'm not positive if I remembered it correctly, but they came up with another idea, and I would like to, if we can't do the scattered houses, like follow through with finding out exactly what they feel they can do by creating a youth one-stop resource center. And I did see that Don Gilmore, our president of this board, had an idea of resources for North Richmond, and a resource center for youth will be a resource for youth, and it will be a training center. And Rico is interested in being a part, and I appreciate that, and I hope that he can help me to build up on this so that we can make it happen. Okay, that's all I have to say on open forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eleanor.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any other Public comments? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on to our law enforcement agency report.
Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Lucas, how's everybody doing?
Fine, good evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm under the weather, so I apologize for not being on camera, but I look a hot mess, so I'll just talk. Since last we spoke, we've actually seen, or there has been a significant decrease in our Part 1 crimes, which would include assaults, either with firearms or with other improvised weapons. We've also seen a significant decrease in robberies. I know when last time I was here, we talked about that robbery spree that was taking place. We were working that case diligently. We did identify the suspects involved, and there were arrests made. So that investigation is still ongoing, and we're working with the district attorney's office on getting that adjudicated. We've also seen a decrease in other property crimes, to include residential burglaries. Unfortunately, the theft from vehicles has gone up. That potentially could be due to the holiday season that is upon us. So again, I want to warn and remind everyone to be diligent when they're out shopping, to make sure not to leave anything in plain view on the inside of their vehicle. Make sure you're placing it in the trunk of your car prior to your arrival to your final destination. You don't want to get to the mall or the shopping center, get out of your car, and then place things in your trunk, because unfortunately the thieves will be watching for that, and they'll know exactly where your items are being stored or hidden. We did see an increase in calls for shots fired as well. Most of those turned out to be services rendered with no crime, but there was a significant increase in those calls. And I'm sure, as you all know, the sideshows are still an issue. Over the weekend, this past weekend, there were 4 of them, one of which we were able to quickly get to and tow a few vehicles from that particular sideshow. So we are trying to put together an interagency task force where we have multiple officers from the California Highway Patrol, El Cerrito Police Department, San Pablo Police Department, and some other East Bay agencies that are affected by sideshows, to Pittsburgh, Antioch, and work in concert to try to, one, find out when the sideshows are going to be taking place by monitoring social media, and then address and respond to them appropriately. A quick update on some of the homeless or unhoused efforts that the Richmond Police Department is making. I know most of you are aware of the Castro encampment at Hensley and the Parkway. The city is working its very best to get that project with Way to Love, which is a nonprofit group that's been hired to oversee the sunset of that particular location. As of December 1st, a security company has been hired by the city to assist with issues that are taking place within the encampment that pretty much are on a non-criminal level. So one of the major things that we've asked them to do as the Richmond Police Department with the security company is to control some of the ingress and egress of vehicles, because what's happening is we're having a number of stolen vehicles dumped in that location, and also dismantled, and pretty much just the frame of the vehicles are being left. And it's difficult for us to get equipment into that location to remove them. So that's one of the projects that they're working on for us. And thus far, we have seen a decrease in the number of vehicles that have been going into that location. We are really trying to hire specifically for our code and parking enforcement officers, so that we can get back out there and start doing more tow days, parking enforcement, and street sweeping enforcement. We are going to be picking the monthly tow days back up. We had stopped doing them at the request of our administrators until we could kind of look at how effective that was. We've determined that it is extremely effective. It's also needed, so we're going to be picking that back up. We'll have specifically in North Richmond, there's going to be a tow day. I believe it's going to be either at the end of this month or at the beginning of next month. It just depends on personnel with the holidays and vacations, but we're going to be picking that back up and doing a monthly tow day in the Central District. So I'll have those numbers and reports back the next time we meet. Other than that, that's all I have. If anyone has any questions, I'll do my very best to answer them. If not, I'll get back to you with an answer the next time we meet. No one has any questions, comments? Okay.
Danny, I think you're on mute. I see your lips moving.
I know. I was asking if someone had any questions. Someone looked like they were talking, but I couldn't hear them.
Thank you so very much for your thorough report.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I don't, as the coordinator, didn't see anyone had any questions for you, but thank you so very much. And happy holidays to you.
You too. Thank you very much. Happy holidays to everyone else.
So I would like to extend that to you also. Thank you. Right. Okay, do we have anyone from our sheriff's department?
I don't see Lieutenant Rodriguez. I don't know if there's someone else
that's going to be speaking on his behalf. You see, how about our California Highway Patrol?
No, we still haven't been able to get a point for CHP. I know the sheriff department did go to Verde today, Verde Elementary School, to talk to the parents. So I know that's the second time they've gone to meet with the parents to kind of help address safety issues around the school. So I know that's an update that I know of. And Marta, if you want to share anything about it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marta Nieto, the school community worker at Verde. Yes, yes, we are going to start to have meetings once a month with Mr. Rodriguez, just because we want to speak about safety in our community. And the main reason is because we want to develop relationship with the sheriff. So we're going to start to have meetings once a month. The first Tuesday of the month, 10 to 11. So the next meeting is we are gonna have a training to see what we can do to when it's gun shooting at school, what we can do. So we are gonna start to make a plan talking about that. Yeah. So yeah, and once again, my main reason is because we want to know who they are and have the relationship with them. So we want to have more trust between us with the community. Yeah, and a lot of parents attend. So, but we want to open this meeting for the whole community. So everybody's welcome to be there. But specific is gonna be also for parents. Thank you.
Very good, Martha. Thank you, because I did want to ask to see where you all was going to be starting at, but you just explained that you have certain things that you will be identifying and that you will be having training for the parents, and it's open for the community to participate also. So thank you. Okay. With that, I see Supervisor Joy is there. I know he hates for me to always say Supervisor Joya, but he's there. Hello.
I'm just here to good evening. I'm just here to listen, and I know Tanya will invite you all to our Verde Zoom event on Thursday night.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor. Okay, so we've heard from our law enforcement at this time, and we are getting ready to go into item 5, which is our items for discussion and or actions. And this time we have a recommendation for a pre-application file number 22-0004, and it is involved. I think I saw her somewhere. She's on. Do you see her?
I did see it was yeah, Todd's right there. Todd, right? Do you want to introduce yourself in the project?
Sure, I can. I'm happy to introduce myself. If it's appropriate, I will share the screen of the presentation to help with the projection.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Okay. My name is Todd Wright, and I'm assisting the Nanowall Company to prepare for their next phase of expansion in North Richmond. Nanowall is a local company building folding and sliding glass walls in Richmond since 2004. We're here tonight to provide a broad brush look at our planning for the expansion of the Nano facilities, and we appreciate the opportunity to discuss those plans with you. Nanowall has two primary glass products that they make. The first is a sliding glass wall. It's installed in such places as the Cal Berkeley Stadium, which you see on the left here. And second is a folding wall. And this is used in homes, offices, and in stadiums again, in both indoor and outdoor settings. The picture at the upper left is actually the folding walls installed at Oracle Park. Nana is located on Brookside Drive between Fred Jackson Way and Giant Road, as you can see where it's starred on the screen there. The manufacturing that Nana does involves design and assembly of glass wall systems that are shipped all over the United States and Canada. Nana started, as I said, in Richmond in 2004 at 50 West Ohio Avenue. In 2014, they moved into the building at 775 Brookside. That's the white building on the right-hand side of the screen. They purchased the vacant property next door, and in 2019, they built their first expansion building. That's the building in the red and the gray in the center of the screen. These two buildings total approximately 90,000 square feet of manufacturing space and have 45 employees. It's now time to start planning for the next 10 years of expansion. Nana purchased the adjacent 5 acres that you see in the center of the screen. Their existing buildings are off to the right. They plan to expand in 3 phases over a 10-year timeframe, depending on how fast the business expands. Each phase would add approximately 40,000 square feet of space. At full build out, the expansion would have 2 separate buildings, totaling together approximately 130,000 square feet. The first phase of development would be on the first half of the building closest to the existing facility. The second phase would be completing building number 1. And the third and final phase would be building number 2, which is closest to Brookside Drive. HBA Architects has been hired to design the building along with all the needed engineers who are experienced working in North Richmond. Conceptually, the new building will look like this. The key issues as we see it, and we wanted to raise them frankly and clearly with the community here, is first employment. With the 2 additional buildings, we would expect to more than double our employee count to approximately 100. Trucks and deliveries. Because we manufacture specialty glass wall systems, we have a modest amount of trucks coming to and from the site. On an average day, there are approximately 2 large trucks that come to the site. At the end of the expansion, we would expect about 4 trucks per day. The truck route. We are well located to direct our trucks over to the Richmond Parkway via Parr Boulevard or Pittsburgh Avenue and not through the North Richmond neighborhood. We would expect that it will take us approximately 2.5 years to build out the first phase of the expansion and bring it online. Next year, we would prepare our development application and construction plans. In 2024, we would expect to build out the first phase of the expansion. And in 2025, we would plan to move in and set up operations in the first phase. This is just a preliminary look at our planning, and we would appreciate the opportunity to get your input and answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right, okay. Do anyone have any questions before I get started?
Yes, I do see Supervisor Joya's hand is up.
All right. Okay, he's on mute.
There we go. I'm not muted now. Less of a question and more of a comment to make to the MAC, just so the MAC is aware. What we are doing on any development proposal in North Richmond is we are requiring all outdoor equipment to be operated on a site to be zero emission. And we're also requiring any vehicles that are domiciled or hosted at the site to also be zero emission. So just to be aware of that. And, I don't know whether the applicant had that discussion yet, but that's a policy we have in place for any of these industrial type of developments. So again, any equipment like forklifts, other kinds of equipment, any trucks that are domiciled on the site are going to need to be zero emission.
Wow.
We would expect that. Yes, we understand.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Joya. And that was my question about your trucks and its emissions. That was one of the questions that I wanted to ask us. If the trucks, what type of emission is they're going to be releasing? What type of gases? But Supervisor Joya already.
Although I think your question is a good one in that the trucks that are arriving from somewhere else, I'd be interested to have them clarify that issue as well, because we're trying to get why we have less control over trucks coming from somewhere else as opposed to trucks domiciled. And I know our planners are going to look at that issue closely.
Absolutely.
Yes, we would expect to be subject to whatever conditions of approval are developed by the staff for the operation of the facility.
Okay. Yeah, Tanya, I see that we have some hands.
Yes, we have Leticia and Latifa.
Okay.
Leticia, do you want to speak?
Yes, it was about the trucks that he said 2 trucks are getting out or 4, but how about deliveries in around like all the trips? Because I hear from another company that came to ask because they wanted to do the business. They said they will have only like 4 trucks, and if you go and see the place, you will see that it's full of trucks there. So I just wanna if they are gonna keep it to the word, that it's not gonna be that many, or if they're just telling us 2, and then like Supervisor Joy and everybody said, there is gonna be more trucks coming into the place, like around how many, or if they are gonna pay attention to how many fuels. The fuel cars are coming in, and at the end it ends up being like so many driving there. That was just my comment.
I think we can answer that if we have a 90,000 square foot facility in operation, and you should feel free to drive by any time. We just verified this afternoon to make sure we were using the appropriate numbers from the plant manager about how many trucks a day we have. So I know it's a sensitive issue, and we have good operating numbers to work with.
Mm-hmm. Tanya, you gonna call on the next one?
Yes, Latifa.
My granddaughter is here, so can you just answer the comment in the chat? Thank you.
Hey, Cynthia has a question.
Okay, Cynthia.
Oh, okay. On the pictures of the buildings, I don't see any solar panels. What does solar panels have a role do they have in this design?
That is a detail that we have not gotten to. Clearly, if we can make the economics of the solar panels work, we will add them to the system. We do have plenty of roof area to work with, as you can see from our existing building here, but it's a level of detail we haven't gotten to yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because it's my understanding, just like zero emission free, I think North Richmond, we're like requiring that buildings be solar also. This is my understanding.
Right. We will comply with all the standard conditions that are required by the county on the project.
I see it's still up the same as do you see that I guess the teacher, she just didn't take her hand down yet. But anyway, well, I'm gonna if I don't hear from anyone else.
Well, we do have the comment from Latifa. I can read it.
Yes, please.
Okay. It says, happy to know, or Todd, do you want to respond? Or?
Yeah, happy to know about the type of business. I've wondered about it when I drive by. In addition to trucks, how many more cars or / employees? We would anticipate, we currently have 45 employees. Most of them park on the other side of of our first building, which is why you don't see them parked in front of the second building. And we would anticipate that we would double to about 100 employees when we build out the expansion. The reason you don't see any cars in this area is because we are parking to the standards required by the county, which is more parking than we actually use. The next one was, is there anything that will work with that could affect air quality for us in our neighborhood? And I really think the air quality question is driven, as I think you most people have, about limiting truck emissions coming to and from the site. And we'll continue to work towards the zero emission approach with the trucks coming and going. I think we'll get there over time. But like you, we have some limited control over the trucking operations coming to and from. But we also have a very limited number of trucks as well.
Hey, well, Mr. Wright, I have a couple of questions, and I hope that you can, I hope it's not too premature at this time for you to answer the questions, but it mentioned that this is almost like your third move from Ohio in 2004, then 2017, and now here in 2019, and now you're looking at this space here to accommodate about 100 employees. With that, how many are you looking at to actually hire in from the surrounding communities here in the community? And what type of employment and what type of jobs are there within that facility that may
yeah, first, on our current, the employees, our 45 employees at these two buildings, approximately 30% of them are from Richmond. About 30% are surprisingly from Marin, and then the remaining 40% are spread throughout the East Bay community. So we would anticipate with the expansion that we would similarly have that kind of distribution of people from Richmond, Marin, and then the East Bay communities. In terms of the type of employment, let's see here. This the employment in here is a skilled assembly. We work with glass and aluminum and gasketing products, as you would expect, to make the doors watertight. So that's the type of work, what the employees do in here. Obviously, we have to have people who manage all our inventories, as you can see in the larger photo. And then this, the two photos on the right give you a little bit of a sense of the type of manufacturing that takes place. So it's a lot of custom work. As you can also see, it's a very clean assembly area, as you would expect.
Right. Very clean. I don't see any sparks going off as far as
no. We're not grinding steel.
Right. Yes, it's beautiful. Okay. Now, do anyone else have any more comments or questions for Mr. Wright at this time? Okay, hearing none. With this is a recommendation for pre-application. Is that correct, Tanya?
Yes.
Okay, so with that, I would like to propose a motion at this time for us to look forward to entertaining a pre-application for this file number 220004 for the Nana Walls. And from there, I'd like to hear a motion.
Hi, this is Beverly. I move to accept the recommendation or support the recommendation.
Very good. Thank you, Beverly. May I hear a second?
Hi, I second everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Jorge. Okay. All in favor at this time?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing any abstentions or any objections? Hearing none. At this time, for the pre-application, for the recommendation, is approved at this point to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be back as we develop our actual development application, and we look forward to meeting with you again.
Okay, and thank you for such a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And happy holidays to you too. To everyone, if I forget. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the presentation. Item A, Hope Gardens by the Watershed Project.
My name is Pinky Young. I'll be speaking on behalf of the Watershed Project.
Okay, welcome, Pinky.
Let me get my screen together. But first I want to say thank you for welcoming me to this meeting. This is my first North Richmond MAC meeting, and good vibes. Y'all are all very awesome.
Okay.
Let's see. Can people see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So as I said before, my name is Pinky. I work at the Watershed Project here in Richmond. The Watershed Project, for folks who don't know, is a nonprofit, obviously based in Richmond, and our mission is to inspire communities in the San Francisco Bay Area to understand, appreciate, and protect our local watersheds, because we all live in a watershed. We have been involved with various projects in North Richmond over the years, including a 3-year-long Block Ambassadors program that involved residents in keeping their blocks free of trash and litter. We've also planted trees, engaged residents in a water needs assessment, and hosted creek cleanups at Wildcat Creek. And this evening, I will be talking about the Hope Gardens project, which is now in its 5th year. Well, if you've never heard of this before, you may be asking, what is a Hope Garden? A Hope Garden is a drought-tolerant garden planted in the strip between the house and the street. The purpose of you know, beautifying that small area is to, one, involve North Richmond residents in providing a beautiful green space on their street. It fosters a sense of, you know, pride. It encourages neighbors to care for their street by setting an example, and creates habitats for butterflies, bees, other types of animals as well. And it enhances walkability in the neighborhood. So it encourages folks to go outside, because it is beautiful to go outside and it's a pleasure to go outside. So to recap, as I said, it is year 5. So what did we do in the previous years? I'll go through this pretty quick. Ooh, there we go. First year, oh, okay, clicked too many times, my bad. Okay, year 1. So we planted, so Block Ambassadors helped us to plant gardens. It was the first year. We learned a lot. We had to scramble to finish, but everybody worked hard and the gardens looked really good. So here is like a pretty good examples of Hope Garden. There's like some nice mulch on top and some drought tolerant plants that do not need a bunch of watering, maybe every couple of months type watering. Moving on to year 2. This was in 2020. So outreach was very successful, but it kind of got cut off because of COVID, as did pretty much everything. We eventually did get those gardens in the ground, and we tried our best to, you know, be as present as possible during a very tumultuous time when we couldn't see each other. So we were available via Google Meet and all the online outlets and things like that. The next year, ooh, too quick. So year 3, 2021, COVID again impacted our ability to work with volunteers, but we had green ambassadors again. So that was cool, the Block Ambassadors. We also learned that it is very important to avoid sites near PG&E sites, PG&E power lines specifically, because I think 2012, not 2012, mixing the numbers, 2021, we were next to a PG&E power line and they sent a helicopter to come and swirl around us because they were really nervous that we were going to break something of theirs, which is understandable. So now we know, we learn new things every day. And moving on to year 4, this was last year, we engaged over 50 volunteers in planting days. I'm pretty sure we got 5 gardens in the ground last year. We visited the gardens in previous years just to check on how they're doing, because it's been a couple years now. And we interviewed some of the garden adopters. So over 3/4 of the gardens that we've planted are in good or even better condition than what we planted them as. And most residents in North Richmond were not aware that other Hope Gardens existed. They thought that their Hope Garden was the Hope Garden, but there are actually many. Here is a map of all of the gardens that we've put into the ground. So up top is Market, and here is Fred Jackson Way running, what would that be, east-west? No, north-south. So there's a bunch in kind of the southern part of this map. We would really love to expand up into North Richmond proper as well. We have a couple in there, but it would be really great to get a bunch more. So our goals for this coming year, 2023, year 5, is to plant 5 more gardens in North Richmond, spend a little bit more time explaining the project to prospective garden adopters so that we can ensure full participation. Like, it's not just putting the garden in the ground, it is being part of the process and making the plan for the garden. It's also watering the garden every once in a while to make sure that it doesn't die. And doing like very light maintenance. So we just need to make sure that folks understand that. Scheduling planting days so that garden adopters can actually participate. We want garden adopters to be as involved in this process as possible. We don't want it to be like, we'll come and do the thing and then we'll leave. Once we're done, we want it to be like a very holistic process, an involved process. We also want to put signs on the gardens because, like I said before, many folks were like, Hope Garden, there's more Hope Gardens. And we want to be able to increase our visibility. Before I move on to this Next slide, I'm going to go back. When I say full participation, it means communicating plant preferences, participating in planting days, and attending a follow-up maintenance session. So we want to make sure that these gardens make it. So we're just trying to provide as much support to folks as possible so that they do make it. So, a question to the community. Would you like to adopt a Hope Garden? Or do you know someone that would like to adopt a Hope Garden? The requirements are, of course, space. You have to actually have, some sort of grassy area in front of your home. The willingness to and ability to maintain the garden, so water it a little bit, weed it a little bit, and mulch it so that you don't have to water it as much. You also need to complete a short application. Here is a schematic of ideal garden space. It has to be at least 2 feet. You can see, I don't think you can see my mouse right now, but it's 2 feet height and 15 feet width. So this is the house up at the top where you see the "Do you have a space for a garden" text, sidewalk, and then that strip that I was talking about in between the street and the house. It doesn't have to be a planting area like how I'm depicting in this slide. If there is a large area, for example, like churches, like anywhere that has areas in front of streets, it doesn't have to be homeowner specifically. If there's an area in front of your street, you are in North Richmond and you want something nice in front of there, get in touch with us. We would love to talk to you and do a site visit and figure out site suitability. This schematic is also the dimensions of a sample small garden. This is about as small as we can go. If you have more space, then excellent, but 2 feet by 15 feet is just about the limit. To talk through the process a tiny bit about getting Hope Gardens into the ground, we have a professional landscaper come and prepare the ground, which is why we need kind of a large amount of space. We want to make sure that it is worth having a landscaper coming through and getting all those weeds out, putting down weed cloth, and then getting those plants into the ground. My last parting thought is, regardless of space, even having a small garden in your neighborhood is a huge plus. It definitely beautifies the space a lot more and brings joy to folks. So with that, I will leave a little bit of time for questions. If you would like a Hope Garden, please get in contact with these two people. I know that they're not me, but they are the people who are organizing, the main organizer. So get in touch with Paula for English and Hugh or Eunice for Spanish. All right, are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Pinky. Okay, are there any questions?
Yes, Cynthia has her hand up.
Yes, my dear Cynthia.
I would just like to comment, give a good comment to the Watershed Project. I've worked with them on several projects, and I appreciate what they're doing in and around North Richmond. And the staff is people friendly, and I've made some great friends through the Watershed program. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
I just want to second what Ms. Jordan said. I agree. I think it's a beautiful thing to do for the community, and it's definitely going to beautify our surroundings. So definitely encouraging people to spend more time outdoors. So I just want to say thank you, guys.
Hello, Pinky.
Hello.
Hey there. I wanted to ask you, I thought, the last time I spoke with someone from the Watershed Project, the tone was that the gardens, the result, like the maintenance wasn't kept up. So I wanted to find out if that's going any better, and have you gotten any, or have you reached out to the community to see, just to get some input from the community? Was this something that was, the Hope Gardens, is this something that the community initially asked for? And yeah, so those are my questions for you. Thanks.
I'm gonna make sure that I captured all of them. So one, just general progress on upkeep. Two, if there has been any sort of community outreach. And is there a third one?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how the community outreach, and was this something that the community initially asked for? Thank you.
That is a good question. I'm hesitant to answer just because I've been at the Watershed Project for not 5 years and I haven't been a part of this project for a very long time. Yeah, I will have Latifa, I'll write down your information and I'll follow up with you with Paula, the program manager.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you for your question.
Not to put you on the spot, but Cynthia, is that something that you may be able to expound on since you have worked with the watershed? Can't hear you. You're on mute. You're still on mute, Cynthia.
Annie, are you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have my little grandbaby here. My mind is somewhere else.
That's okay.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I said what Ms. Latifa was asking about the maintenance that has not been upkept as much, and is this something that the community has asked for since the existence of this program? And I know you said that you're familiar with the program, and the question is, do you know if this was a community invite that wanted this, or this is just an experimental pilot? I'm going a little forward with that, but would you know the existence and the outcome of who, if the community wanted this to be a part of this, something they asked for, in order for them to be accountable of keeping up?
Well, in my opinion, and from what I've heard in discussions, I think COVID kind of put a damper on a lot of things. And I think it's mainly due to COVID. It had put a damper on the program.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay. So, Ms. Pinky, you got a little bit, and then Tanya?
Yeah, I did want to add a little bit because I did help a little with some outreach for the first round of Hope Gardens. So I know we did do some door knocking, and we even had like a tour. So it seemed like people were excited about them, but I do think it's worth kind of following up on the question that Latifa brought up about maintenance, and if there's anything we can do to support kind of the maintenance of the garden as we move forward, or if there's additional outreach that we can support with, or kind of garden work parties, or because I think if they're well kept, maintained, it's a beautiful thing. And I've seen some of them, the ones that have been really well maintained, and it really does make a difference. So I just wanted to share those.
And just for me to chime in, just for me to, as I recall, I think this was something that was introduced as part of being in a partnership with the beautification and as a pilot. And that's my take on how it really began. Okay, it came through with the beautification, introduction, presentation, and okay, we're gonna do this, with buy-in of the community, and let's do this. Okay, so it wasn't any arm twisting. Who is just whoever wanted to take part of it. Okay, all right. So do we have any other questions or comments for Ms. Pinky at this time?
This is Marta again. I just want to let you know also that we have coffee clubs at the school. So I think if you want to make any announcement or anything related with that, you can call me and they can do presentations with parents just to promote the idea.
Yeah, I will. That sounds great, and I will follow up with you on that because yeah. Thank you.
So you can contact me. Thank you.
Thank you.
the chat for her so she can pick it up. Okay.
One last quick plug. It'll only take a second. There will be, of course, a MLK Day of Service on the Richmond Greenway. It is us in partnership with a bunch of other community organizations, Urban Tilth, Groundwork Richmond, Pogo Park. All the cool people will be there. So I hope you can make it out as well. Check out our website and later this week in order to sign up. Second thing I wanted to plug is my program, the Green Collar Corps. We are looking for young people ages 17 to 24 looking for hands-on paid work experience. Folks who are interested in the environmental field. This program is really meant for folks that are underrepresented in the environmental field, who are interested in it, cannot afford to take an unpaid internship, which is often the case with a lot of these industries. So we want to pay folks an hourly wage to work with us, helping out with things like Hope Gardens and outreach, working at a small nonprofit and getting professional experience and professional development. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions about any of these things, please send me an email. It's Pinkie, Pinkie, @thewatershedproject.org.
Okay.
And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pinkie. That was a great presentation, and the photos that were sent are actually beautiful. Okay. So thank you so very much. Okay, moving on. And happy holidays to you if you happen to disappear and stay until the end also, Ms. Pinkie, and to you and yours. Okay, so let's go into our next presentation, which is Raven Facilities Incorporated in North Richmond. And is our presenter here?
Yes, I do see the presenters here.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chairman.
Good evening, Mr. Murdoch. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Just making, sorry, I'm in a hotel room, so I got this bright light right on my face here, so my apologies. So my name is Matt Murdoch, and I am the CEO and founder of Raven SR. And we wanted to take an opportunity to present our project to you as well. Supervisor Joya, who's on the line, recommended this would be a good group for us to get the information out to. So I wanted to share that with you. And this is hopefully moving forward very quickly. Did you want to say something, Supervisor? You're on mute.
No, I just was putting my camera on. I'm putting it on and off as I do other work in my office. Yes.
No problem. All right, Tanya, I can share my screen, correct?
Yes, you can.
All right. Is that clear for everybody?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate that. And I will give a brief overview. I sometimes geek out a little bit on the science, so I'll try not to go too far. But if you have questions, please, we want to have questions as well. So it's always worth beginning by saying that actually Raven SR was begun. Well, I was the founder, but we started the company after the work that my second cousin, Dr. Galloway, did. Dr. Galloway had a company called Intellergy, which was actually working in Richmond. He was a professor of environmental engineering at UC Berkeley, section leader at UC Livermore Lab. And so he was working very hard for many, many years, trying to come up with a non-combustion means of removing waste. So we have currently 16 patents and 15 pending on our process to convert waste, organic waste, into really high-grade hydrogen-rich syngas, which is a building block that can go into future fuels. So the technology was developed and commercialized in the 1980s and 1990s by Dr. Galloway. There was a project that he was actually hoping to do in Richmond, and it's kind of great to be coming back and getting our first project, our first commercial project on the ground, or large-scale commercial project on the ground there. So we will be, if all goes forward well, operating right inside the U.S. Contra Costa County Sanitary Landfill with Republic Services. This is just kind of an overview of the entirety of the landfill. Many of you probably are familiar with it. And then we will be placing our system on the inside of that orange circle. This is a general drawing based on the engineering drawings. It takes up about 1.5 acres. We will be processing 70 wet tons of green waste and food waste. Although our technology can process multiple different kinds of waste, whether they be plastics or landfill gas, we will be processing green waste and food waste. That is currently what is being brought to this closed landfill at Republic Services. This is going to be a project that really complements and kind of works in alignment with SB 1383, of diverting organic waste from the landfill. And we will be producing about 5,000 kilos, or about 5 tons of fuel cell quality hydrogen every day. That will entail, so presently, Republic Services will be bringing the waste down off the hill to us. They are already treating it. They're already sorting it, so they will bring it to us. We will bring it in once a day, and it's first in, first out as the waste comes in. It goes into the machine. So it's once a day that we'll be getting that brought into us. And then we only will have, so the only outside vehicles will actually be the trucks collecting the hydrogen fuel. We're expecting about 7 trucks a day. To Supervisor Joya's point, one of the discussions we are obviously having as well with our off-takers is we would like those to be net zero trucks. I mean, it seems to only make sense since we're making hydrogen. That's the goal. And I know that our off-takers are planning to do that. That hydrogen fuel will then be going into fueling stations in the area. So this will be not going to refineries, not going into any of that. The target is actually fueling stations, whether they be Chevron stations or Shell stations, Iwatani. So that is the goal, is to begin providing actually clean hydrogen right there in Northern California. We do have a negative carbon intensity. So this is, if you will, a green hydrogen. It's got a carbon intensity provisional carbon intensity of -10, which really goes to the overall story of reducing greenhouse emissions, both by producing clean fuels and avoiding the emissions from the trucks, but also to remove short-lived climate pollutants, which are one of the largest contributors of greenhouse gases. So we're kind of cleaning up the environment coming and going with the entire system. The system will be operating roughly 24 hours a day, and all year long we have scheduled downtimes. It will not be loud. I think people have said it's going to be, it'll be a light sound, like the sound of a cell phone, roughly. It's not going to be a majorly loud sound by the trail or anything like that. This is not steam methane reforming. I'm going to be very clear. We are a non-combustion process. And so the idea is to avoid any unnecessary pollutants. Additionally, I will point out we will be producing about 60% of our own power inside the fence, so that we will not be a major burden on the grid. Our next systems, we're intending to be 100% off the grid, so that we can actually be kind of autonomous and independent of the grid and not be a burden on that side as well. There will be about 10 to 12 employees hired who will be operating this and manning this. We will also be working with employing different interns who can also be working on the site and working and learning more about the technology and developing job skills. Let's see, I think that's about what I have there. So it's not the highest piece of equipment. Is going to be about 30 feet tall. The rest of it's going to be nestled right inside that landfill. I don't think anybody will actually notice it unless you can come into the landfill. It'll be fairly tight and needy. So I think one of the things that we like to point out, as I've said, is that Raven SR and Dr. Galloway's vision and our vision is really to provide clean fuels while cleaning the environment at the same time. So we are both avoiding the emissions that come off of organic waste that would normally decompose within the landfill. We're helping to eliminate waste, and as you can see here, we also have a certain amount of biocarbon that's sequestered. It's a solid carbon, which, because we'll be using green waste and food waste, could be a very good agricultural amendment, either for the garden project or urban tilth, or if there's other projects in the region that need a very good source. obviously our biocarbon is directly related to the feedstock, and we'll be using green waste and food waste at the Republic site. Let's see if there's anything else I need to. We do have multiple partnerships, and I only mention this just to help people to realize, we are trying to work with very strategic partners to get the fuel into the market, as well as recognized marks. Hyzon Motors is actually working to develop zero-emission hydrogen fuel cell Class 8 trucks. And Samsung, I think everybody knows. Chevron, this is not going to be the refinery, to be very clear. This will be going into the fueling stations in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Itochu is actually a Japanese trading house. And I only mention that just so that, people will understand that there's a good number of strong strategic partnerships here that can provide help and also guidance in lots of different discussions that are going on. Just one last note, and then I do want to open it up to any questions. We did also recently, last year, acquire Benicia Fab and Machine up in Benicia. They will be fabricating a lot of our equipment, not only for this project, but frankly, worldwide. Just got back from Japan and was showing off this fab shop to a couple of the Japanese in Osaka, and they were very impressed by this. So we are doing our best to really support the local economy, either through jobs or creating, building the equipment as close to the site as possible. So, Madam Chairman, I want to open myself up to questions. I'm willing to go deeper if people need to, but I know I have a tendency to go. I should mention one last thing just before we go on. We do actually have support of the unions, and so we've been trying to work very hard to make certain we keep in touch with all the different community members. So, again, I see if there's any questions, please.
Well, Mr. Murlock, I'm just impressed. I love this. I have a sort of a background in engineering, but quality control now. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But just to see how this is converting waste and turning it into fuel, it's kind of exciting just to look at the rendering of the schematics of what it is. It's really, it's almost simplified to have such a unique, vision to do this. And I was smiling as I was reading and looking at the format. You talking about you like going into a geek, but if you can expound just a little bit more, I'm curious about how many other plants do you have doing this, or I know that it's been working at it sometimes, but what are the other plants doing as this for thus far, and where in the locations?
Yeah, I regret that Dr. Galloway is not with us, because this was exactly his dream. Waste to fuels, it's like right out of Back to the Future, right? Mr. Fusion. It's this is going to be our first commercial sized fuel project. Dr. Galloway and his company Intelligy had been involved in smaller systems converting waste to that high-grade syngas, which was used to generate electricity back in the 80s and 90s. And then there was a larger system that was under license in northern Canada. But again, their target was just kind of producing electricity. This is going to be the first clean fuels project, the commercial one. But in the meanwhile, we are actually in discussions and locations in Los Angeles, Europe. So there's going to be, we have multiple locations around the United States as well as Europe and Asia. They're very interested in this very project, because I think we all know waste is a major problem, and we need clean fuels. So what I really like is the fact, again, that not only are we producing the clean fuels, but we're also getting rid of like the waste on the front end. So
converted. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So frankly, you're going to be the flagship. Richmond's going to be the flagship of this operation, and you're going to probably get visitors from around the world. We're going to do a visitor center there just for all the people coming to check it out.
Right. Well, I think it's fantastic. Okay. Tanya, go for it.
Yes, I see Supervisor Joya and Leticia.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a context just for all of you. There's a state law that passed about a year ago. It's Senate Bill 1383, that to reduce methane, it really requires it's going to affect how landfills are operated. And one of the things that it's going to potentially do is it's going to have impact on the whole composting operations. And as you know, there have been a lot of odors out of the Republic landfill composting operation on and off. What this project would do is take green waste that would be composted and instead put it through a process, the facility that they're building to create
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
bless you yeah, bless you, to create hydrogen. And so one of the things that this type of process may deal with is to prevent composting as much green waste and instead create this hydrogen product. Now, as you know, remember we approved this new FedEx facility that will have zero emission trucks at their facility. And there's two types of zero emission trucks. Those that are battery electric trucks, or those that are what are called hydrogen fuel cell trucks. Both of them are zero emission. And so the hydrogen that's created from this type of facility would then be used to fuel the zero emission hydrogen fuel cell trucks. Could be trucks nearby, could be trucks somewhere else. But so they just wanted to clarify, two types of zero emission, trucks, battery electric or hydrogen fuel cell. And so this will be a fuel in zero emission vehicles and trucks, and would again, it would take green waste and instead of composting it would create hydrogen.
Oh, Cynthia has something to say.
Yes, Cynthia.
Oh,
I was waiting.
Yeah, Annie said she was impressed. I'm impressed also the companies that are involved with Raven that are partnered with them.
Yeah.
There's some pretty high-tech companies, some pretty big names there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see Leticia's hand is up.
Yes, hi. I have two questions. And well, it sounds exciting, to use the compost. I just wanted to ask about if there is going to be any smells. As the past 2 weeks, I have to make a complaint and call the Bay Area Air Quality to complain because there was too strong smells. Sorry about this. That one of them was because it was like manure type, and then another was like sewer. And I called my neighbors and I asked them if they feel the smell, and they said yes. So I'm really concerned about that smell at that place. And another question that I have is the release of any gas or anything that could affect us, the people that are living in the neighborhood. So those are my two main questions that I have. Thank you.
Those are excellent questions, Leticia. One, I think one of the things that we are very aware of is odor mitigation or odor control. I think, in the process of making compost, as that organic material decomposes, it is obviously releasing odors. So as Supervisor Joya said, we will be taking about 70 tons of that and converting it into the fuel. We are a non-combustion process, so there should not be any odors, and we are very aware and very sensitive. And so even on the waste handling, as the waste comes into our system, as I said, the goal is to be first in, first out. So we're not planning to have waste sit there for long periods of time. We have it large enough so that we can be sorting, and then anything that can't be processed in ours is going to be returned right back into the Republic pile and put back into that system. So very much aware of the impact of carbons and that. That one of the other things is that no, we won't be releasing any of the gases or anything that would be dangerous. Our primary emission will be CO2, which we're intending to capture. So that's one of the goals. Presently, Republic Services does operate a landfill gas operation there. They tentatively run electricity without landfill gas, but there tends to be every once in a while in every landfill operation, frankly, everywhere around the world, there's a certain amount of landfill gas that sometimes must be flared. We will be removing all of that. So any of that was going on will be gone. And we'll be using that in our process as well. So I'm hoping, Letitia, that actually by the time we're up and running and going, that you'll come back and say things are actually better than when we first got there. My mom trained me to be a good Boy Scout, so leave things better than when I found them. So that's our goal, is to make things better.
Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. Murdock? Mr. Murdock, I'm sorry. Hearing none?
I do see one more, Tim from Mitham.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Tanya, and thanks, Matt, for the presentation. I want to just bring up what's plenty of folks on the call already are aware of the ongoing work for sea level rise adaptation on the shoreline. A lot of folks on this call have been part of our community working groups, and there's a stakeholder group of parcel holders and sort of operations folks who are doing work on the shoreline. And so just wanted to mention that, and have an invitation to Matt and Raven to become a part of that group, because the long-term viability of the operation near the marsh in this way, and to be a part of a kind of collaborative effort to plan for that.
No, thank you, Tim. I appreciate the invite. We'll definitely look into it and look. I know one of the things that there's that, and I know we'll be doing some trails improvement as well. And then, we're trying. We're going to be sponsoring some projects. Some projects in schools. We got a little team, so I think anything that we can be involved in that kind of contributes to that is, at the end of the day, we want to be a good neighbor, and we want you to think we're a good neighbor. So extremely important to us. So we will, I'll have one of my staff get a hold of you, and we can figure out how to get the membership.
That'd be great. Yeah, even if we could get some time to share the process and the project so far, and then figure out next steps for Republic has been a partner in that work to date also. So
the trail and everything is just unbelievable how beautiful it is in that area. So I mean, I totally agree that we need to make certain we're protecting all of that.
Great.
And I can help coordinate a meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
Of course. I do see a comment and a question in the comment in the chat.
Okay. The landfill gas that has currently been generated is what's being generated. There might be, we are not adding, if I think if people remember, the question was, you mentioned existing using landfill gas, would this involve processing a higher volume of landfill gas per day? In general, right now, that is a closed landfill. So the landfill that is currently generating landfill gas is not receiving any new waste. It's gas that's coming off of that landfill. So we will be, the intention is to take that and put it into actually cleaner generators, and that'll have fewer emissions. And then we will be using some of that for electricity. And then, as I said earlier, if there's any of that low methane landfill gas that can't and normally used to be flared, we'll be processing in there. So.
Okay, is there any other for Mr. Murdock? I do have one more comment. I was just looking at the illustration, the rendering that is shown for the pattern of the technology.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is so very explainable. I don't know who all got the packet, but I think this is what really was exciting to see how it goes to the MS feeder, and it has it actually documented for the input for the waste, as you spoke about the food waste as the solid waste, and it's handling. And then the next step is for the waste to gas. This is when it actually gets into its rotor and reforms it and start turning it and then making it happen, for a certain length of time. And then it turns into the second, is for the gas and the H2O, which is the electrical steam that is performing for the gas, and then it goes into the gas, and then it goes into distribution. So I just thought that was just, just really great. And it's all clean. That's the main emphasis, it's clean. So with that, since we don't
I do see one more
before I close it,
question in the chat. The question is, are there any plans to help fund programs or take steps to help make the hydrogen fuel being produced accessible to residents of Richmond and North Richmond?
Yeah, so the answer to that right now is that Raven is really just a producer of hydrogen. As you can imagine, moving the molecule, as we say, moving that hydrogen is a whole nother matter. And then moving it and getting it marketed to the market is another whole discussion. It's something we can look at, but really honestly, we're producing it and selling it essentially at the spigot to whoever the off-taker is. What I will say is that, that hydrogen will now be available in fueling stations in the area. This is not hydrogen going to, it's not going to travel far. One of Raven's goals is to produce as close to the market as possible to further decarbonize the entire chain, as well as, we can move towards San Jose and produce fuel in San Jose if San Jose has big demands. So we are, that's one thing. And I know the DOE is looking at using a hydrogen for home use and stuff like that. So there are programs out there that can be looked at. But for right now, we're probably just focused primarily on just selling it at the spigot, because I don't want to have to deal with the regulations that go into the next stage of actually transporting it all.
Now that came up, and then I'm not going to hold you much longer, but that came into, what would the cost be per gallon with this? I mean, I'm so excited now, I want to know what the cost is going to be.
Oh, Madam Chairman, that's a dangerous question. I'll be really honest here. I can't tell you the exact cost because we are selling it, but what I can tell you is we are electrically powered, so we're not using any form of combustion. So from if I were just to do a quick comparison real fast, if we were taking electrolysis to make hydrogen, that uses about 60 kilowatts of electricity for every kilo of hydrogen. We use about 15 for every kilo of hydrogen. Okay. And so the goal actually is to produce hydrogen at competitive prices with the petrochemical industry. So we are, I can tell you now, we will be competitive with most industrial gases within a year or two. So that's the goal, because at the end of the day, if hydrogen is too expensive, why would you buy it, right? And it defeats the purpose. Yeah. So one of my shareholders and board members will tell you that our goal at Raven is to be the Walmart of hydrogen. So that's where we're pushing it. So right now, I hesitate from giving you our cost, but I can tell you it's very, very, very competitive, which is one of the reasons we're actually seeing a lot of interest worldwide. So,
cool. Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks for answering. I say that's where it just took me. Okay. So,
well, I would add one last point. If anybody needs any technical information or wants to talk to us further, please reach out to us or my team. We're happy to have conversations with anybody at any time. As I said, we want to be a good neighbor. And so that helps, help us, help you, so that we can know what that exactly means. So thank you very much for your time this evening, and I wish you the best and happy holidays.
And same to you. And thank you so very much for that. It was a great very great presentation. Looking forward for you coming back and sharing more information.
Sounds good.
Of course. Supervisor Joy, did you have something else? It looked like you okay?
No,
okay.
No, I didn't. Sorry. I'm here to listen too.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I thought he probably had something. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I think everybody enjoyed that. Okay, yes. With that,
we do want, with that, we do want to go to our regular kind of agency reports. I put in the chat the normal order.
Yeah, I didn't see it on the agenda. That's why I just to actually get one, okay? Because it wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah, that was my mistake. My apologies.
I have, you printed it enough, so I have a format. So if you would like to open up to our agencies.
Okay. Yes, I can start with the City of Richmond.
Community Services. Ooh, no.
Yeah, I can say something. I'm Jessica from the North Richmond Mobile Tool Library.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to mention that we're going to be having our grand opening event on Saturday, January 21st. And we would love to have people come table. There's going to be a couple workshops going on, bike repair workshop, a woodworking workshop. There's going to be food. And if, if any of you guys are interested in coming to table, we would love to have you. Akila, Janine, Urban Tilth, Pinky, the Watershed Project. You guys are the ones I kind of know. Victor, yeah. So please let me know if you would like me to send you a save the date flyer. And we have been, we have been up and running to support North Richmond community beautification projects. And what we mean by our grand opening is that we will be open as of January 21st to loan tools out to the individual residents of North Richmond. So that's what the grand opening is all about. That will be, available on an individual basis to folks. So yeah, just wanted to mention that to you. I will put my email in the chat, but feel free to contact me if you would like any more information or if you have any questions. We'd love to have you all come. So thanks, you guys.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. We'll move on to Shields Reed, Neighborhood Council.
I don't see our President Marina on, and I wasn't passed any information so far, but Shields Reed is always busy doing something. So
yes, I was gonna say there was a great event last month.
Right now,
the Harvest Festival was
right.
a great success. Yeah.
Right. So right now, I don't have anything for right now, but I should, but I don't. So we're gonna keep it moving. Okay.
Okay. Next, we have Contra Costa Housing Authority.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to have our Coro Fellow, Hannah Phelan, give you an update on what's happening with the RFQ that's going to be coming out hopefully in January.
Hey, everyone. So like Tony mentioned, the RFQ for the first phase of selling the Los Deltas units will come out hopefully in January or sometime early next year. The Housing Authority has opened up 2 or 3 spots on the selection panel. So those are the people that will review the proposals for the $1 scattered sites and determine which developer will get those units. This is not in regards to the main campus, but that will follow a similar process sometime next year. We have some great candidates already for the selection panel, but I wanted to invite you all. If anyone is interested in serving on it, you just must live in North Richmond and not be planning on purchasing one of the sites for yourself or for your organization. I posted the link. It's just a really quick form in the chat earlier, but I'll repost it right now. And then I'll also put my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Tony, you have anything else to say about the RFP, request for proposal?
Not at this time. Like I said, we're finalizing the scoring criteria right now and putting final touches on the RFQ, kind of align it with the scoring criteria. So hopefully at our January meeting, we'll be able to give you a little more information about the details on how it rolls out.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Very good. And Hannah, thank you. Okay, my dear Tanya, let's go to, I'm looking at one of our old ones that's only 2 months apart. So can I not say that's for CHDC housing, community housing development? Is that correct? Or who do you have next?
I have Supervisor Joy's office, me.
Ooh, going back to Supervisor Joy.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I want to invite everyone out to the virtual holiday fundraiser. I did add the link to the chat, and it's going to be this Thursday. Maybe I could even share my screen just so that people could see it. Oh, can see the flyer. Ooh. So this is so yeah, so this is the link that I shared, and this is kind of like a little video. And so we do this, Supervisor Joy does this fundraiser every single year. This year we're gonna be giving out hoodies to every single kid and a brand new book. And our virtual party will be this Thursday, December 8th at 5:30, and you can click on the link to the Zoom here. And then you can also, if you know anyone who wants to donate, there's still time to donate. You can mail your check to our office, and you can just write, the check will be to CHCC of North Richmond, and you can just put in the notes that it's for the Verde School Drive. And you can also donate using the GoFund link. So you can also click here and donate online. And we just welcome everyone to come. We're going to be doing the giveaway, of course, in partnership with Verde Elementary School on next week on the 15th. We'll be at the school and doing kind of the whole the giveaway. So if anyone is interested in stopping by during that time, please let me know. We'll be in the library. And I really hope to see everyone there this Thursday and hopefully next week.
Okay, thank you.
And then next I have CHCC.
Right. So with that, since Don isn't here, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Shahid for her to actually kick off what the Corrine Sane Family Service Center is doing for right now. And also if we may have her and Linda Woodard to present also, it's up to them, but for them to share the wonderful work that they've been doing with the Senior Center.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Well, the seniors are moving. We have a very successful line dancing. It's on Thursdays and it's from 12:30 to 1:30. I really encourage you, if you just need to get some stress off, to come and join the line dancing class. Our average class now is at 14 consecutive, it's weekly. So the class is building and building and building, and I really encourage everyone to come over. For the pre-Thanksgiving, I'd like to thank Urban Tilt for donating 80 bags of fresh vegetables and produce to start everyone's Thanksgiving dinners. So it was really wonderful, and I'd like to continue to thank Urban Tilt for always supporting the seniors at the center when I call. So thank you so much again, Urban Tilt. Another thing that's going on is we are going to be having the pantry is booming. The pantry is very successful. We are getting more and more new people. The average amount of people that we're serving weekly is up to 60 and 70 families are receiving fresh food, produce, meat, cheese, vegetables. I mean, you name it. We have fish. I mean, it's just really, really well attended. I also wanted to thank Martha for the invitation and tabling at the Celebration of Learning event. I was able to really contact and do great outreach and get the vouchers, the mitigation vouchers out so people can know what type of programs that we are all involved in. So at this time, that will conclude my presentation, and thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Wonderful work you all are doing. And also, I see that Miss Linda Woodard is on, and if she has anything to share at this time, and if not, we'll go to our next community report. I guess she's muted.
Okay, I have next on the list the CHDC mitigation coordinator, Victor Jimenez.
Hello, good evening, everybody. So all I have to report for today is that we actually had a successful task force walk for the month of November. We walked down Market Street and we had the City of Richmond Code Enforcement, the Contra Costa County Code Enforcement, Tanya from Supervisor John Joya's office, Contra Costa County Environmental Health, Contra Costa County Public Works, and we also had the Housing Authority as well, and also CHDC employees, and it was very successful because Market Street, they deal with a lot of illegal dumping, illegal abandoned vehicles. There's Housing Authority and there's abandoned lots there. So it was a very successful walk. And another thing that I want to report out is that our December newsletters have been completed and they have been printed. So we should be distributing them to the community next week, early next week. And in those newsletters, we have the stats from the Willie Spears cleanup, our monthly meetings, our community information regarding our community resource team. We have the Hope of Gardens of North Richmond flyer as well. And we also have information regarding vouchers. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you, Victor. And thank you for the fine work that you all are doing.
Thank you.
Go for it, Tanya. It's on you.
Okay, we have Richmond Land. And then I see Leticia's hand is up. So, or Leticia, did you want to?
Yes, I wanted to ask about the walk that Victor just mentioned. When are we going to see any results about or the cleaning of those places that they're checked out? Thank you.
So when we do those walks, every agency is in charge of doing their whatever they have to focus on. But something that we're actually gonna have a meeting next week to discuss ideas for the following year. And so for next year, I do want to come up with an idea of getting the stats of every walk and reporting them to the MAC board meeting for every month.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. Okay, for that.
Okay, so anyone from Richmond Land? I'm not hearing or seeing anyone. Anyone from Cooperation Richmond?
If you, I'm sorry, let me take it back. Could you not expound on the lighting of that's going to be taking place on the 14th and 19th on 6th Street? You know, the
oh yes,
okay.
The lights display.
Thank you. Okay, I'm kind of okay. Could you present that?
Yes, I could present about the light display. So that is, I'm looking for the flyer right now, so I can share with everyone.
I know she had asked me, but I'm not available for the lighting, but I just wanted someone there to expound, either you or Tehor or someone.
Yeah, let me look up the information. We did receive an email.
But they're not going to take place on the 16th?
It is going to take place on the 16th. I want to make sure I'm giving everyone the right information.
5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so it'll be Saturday, December 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. on the corner of 6th and Market Street.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay. And there will be free food, meet Santa, arts and crafts, and family holiday photos.
And the community is welcome. Now,
yes, everyone's welcome.
Thank you for helping me out on that one. I just kind of couldn't too much remember. But
no, thank you, because I also
mentioned it last month. Okay, that was last month news, and as busy I am, I'm glad I remembered it. But anyway, thank you, Tanya, for sharing that. Okay.
Cynthia has something to say before we sign off.
Okay, go ahead, my dear Cynthia.
Oh, I almost forgot. I would just like to thank everyone that contributed to my annual senior Thanksgiving event out here in Oakley at the Casa de Mañana. And I appreciate everybody really from North Richmond that really helped me, because you guys are still supporting me, even though I live out here in East County. And I would also like to say that when I do my event, I don't do dinner anymore because of COVID, but I've been doing gift bags. But I also make sure that I share with North Richmond, and I send like 30 bags to my church in North Richmond, New Hope. And I just want to thank everyone for their continuous support.
Okay. And thank you for the fine work. Thank you, Cynthia.
The last agency would be Urban Tilth, if there's anyone from Urban Tilth that would want to make an announcement.
Hey there. I want to, I'm going to put this in the chat. So that's our quarterly publication, and we'll also be having hard copies in English and Spanish, sending that out. We'll also have a December mailer. I want to put on your mind a couple of dates. So in December, we're having our end of year celebration on December 21st. And we'll send out more information about that, and then also put on your calendar a couple of dates in the new year, very special events on one on MLK Day on January 16th. That'll be from 9 to 1. And then also in February 11th, that's going to be a special event that we're going to send out more information about. Also want to let you know that I'm going to put the flyers for, we still want to have participants for the Community Advisory Committee. So I'm going to put those in there in the chat. And if you've already applied, then we should be sending you an invitation, and we'll have our first meeting next month. Let me just get back over here. All right, here are the flyers for, I guess I can't paste it in there. Let me just, one moment. Okay. Documents. And, Mac. Okay. Hoping it'll let me both, just one at a time. Okay. There's the English, and then I'll put the Spanish, and then the links for the apps, and then I'll be all done. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Is that the last one, my dear?
Yes.
So we're rounding, we're winding down for this year for the MAC. And since our chair isn't here, but on the behalf of the North Richmond MAC, thank you all for participating through this year, coming up and being a part of our meetings, and just participating. It's just been a joy to have you all here, keeping the numbers, keeping things going, communications, and hearing the voice of the community. So on the behalf of the North Richmond MAC and our board, I would like to thank the community for participating this year, and hope to see you next year with some more great information of sharing, and for that to have a very Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever celebration you have for this year, have a happy one and to share with your family. And I'd like to thank you all and have a happy new year. And I guess I'll be signing off. And thank you so very much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.